Julie worked in a Prada store in New York. Everything there was expensive, and most clients paid by credit card. But one day, she got a client who got a purse, a wallet, and a dress. All that cost her $3,990. But the woman decided to pay in cash. Julie refused to sell the items to the client and called the police. Why? Tried to use to pay. They are two $2,000 bills, which don't exist. The police of Atlanta were notified that a prisoner had escaped from Chicago and taken the plane to Atlanta. Of course, an officer was sent to the airport to find the prisoner and capture them. The police officer spotted 3 people who looked similar to the criminal. Take a look at the passengers. Which one should be arrested? The prisoner must be this guy. He's the only one who doesn't have any luggage with him. Probably because he was running away and had none. In a small town, a grand robbery happened. Someone robbed a jewelry store in the local mall. At 6:03 p.m., the lights in the whole mall went off for 8 minutes. When the lights came back on, the most expensive jewelry pieces were missing from the shelves. The police interrogated 3 main suspects. Jack said,
I was picking out a present for my son in an electronics store when the lights went off. I was so confused as anyone else.
Fred said, I wasn't even in the mall at the time. I have no idea what you're talking about. And Stacy said, I was in the bathroom fixing my makeup. I didn't even notice the lights went out. Who is the main suspect? It's Stacy. She said that she hadn't noticed that the light had gone out, but they went off everywhere, including the bathrooms. She would have noticed it, so she's lying. Ava has always wanted to get a cat, but her mom wouldn't allow her to have a pet. So, when one day she found a kitten on the street, she brought it home, but kept it a secret. She succeeded for 2 weeks, but one morning she went down to the kitchen. Have you been hiding a cat in your room? Her mother asked. How did she figure it out? Ava is wearing shorts. Her legs are all scratched, and these scratches are what gave her away. During Halloween, all kinds of creatures flooded a little town, blending in with the citizens. Weeks passed, but some of them stayed, pretending to be humans. The town's detective could catch the remaining ones. He's been tracking a vampire, and he has 3 suspects. All of them only come out at night. Which one of them is the vampire? This guy is pale, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's a vampire. This guy is wearing a silver chain, so he can't be one. But this guy doesn't have a reflection. This is definitely not a human. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not let inside any suspicious people or people below the age of 21. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who isn't supposed to enter the club. Okay, here's the first guest for you. What can you say about this man? Don't let him in. The person in the photo is totally different. It's not this guy's ID card. Okay, here's the next one. Keep your eyes wide open. Do you see anything suspicious? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, the next one. Check it out and make your decision. In or out? Las Vegas is written with a W. It's a typo, which is unacceptable for official documents. This ID must be fake. Here's the next guest for you to examine. What's your verdict? Will you let her in? She seems fine to me. It must be safe to let her in. What about this girl? Is anything off here? She seems fine to me too. Green light. Okay, the last guest. In or out? Look, the woman in the photo has a brown right eye and a green left eye. The real woman has a brown left eye and a green right eye. This is too suspicious. I wouldn't let her in. Amelia is a huge modern art enthusiast, and she wants to take her siblings to a new exhibition. A ticket for one person costs $18. A ticket for two costs $30. And a ticket for three costs $45. If she wants to pay as little as possible, should she invite her two siblings at once or go with each of them separately? It's cheaper if the three of them go together. It'll cost $45. If Amelia went with each of them separately, she would have to pay $30 twice, so she'd pay $60 in total. Ellery has a sweet tooth, and every Friday she goes candy shopping for the week. Tonight, she bought chocolate bars, jelly beans, and gummy bears. She has all chocolate bars but 2, all packs of jelly beans but 4, and all packs of gummy bears but 4. How many pieces of each type of sweets did she buy? Chocolate bars are all but 2, which means that there are 2 packs of jelly beans and gummy bears together. So there's 1 pack of jelly beans and 1 pack of gummy bears. Chocolate and gummy bears are 4 together, so there are 3 chocolate bars. Ailu is a fairy living in her magical forest. Every day, she takes the same route for a morning flight to the lake. One Friday, she was flying to the lake when she met some other creatures moving towards her. There were 2 elves, 3 fairies, and a gnome. How many creatures were going to the lake that Friday morning? Just Ailu. Everyone else was going in the opposite direction. Lily and Della are twin sisters. Both girls failed their history test at school, and their mother made them study all weekend. In the middle of the day, Mrs. McAdams came to check on the girls. Take a look at Lily and Della. Which of them hasn't been studying? Della, the book she's reading isn't a history book, it's physics. She must have grabbed the closest book as soon as she heard her mother's footsteps. A rich lady was booking into one of the best hotels in the city. When she got her key, she noticed that her bags had been stolen. The police interrogated 3 main suspects. Mr. Collins said, "I wouldn't steal anything. I'm rich. I live in the penthouse on the 20th floor." Mrs. Jones said, "I've just returned to the hotel. I've been out all day." And Mrs. Smith said, "I wouldn't steal anything. I have too much stuff myself." Mr. Collins seems shady. He can't live on the 20th floor because there are only 18 floors in the hotel. Amber participated in a game show, and she won. She got 3 exclusive gifts: a Givenchy purse, Armani sunglasses, and a Porsche. But here's a catch. She is to pick her presents herself by choosing between the original and a replica. You need to help her pick the correct prize. Here are two Givenchy purses. One of them is the original, and the other is a replica. Which one should Amber choose? This one, it has the correct logo, so it must be the original. Now, there are two seemingly identical pairs of sunglasses, but only one of them is the original from Giorgio Armani. Which one? This one, with the correct logo. And finally, the Porsche. Let's see if you remember their logo. Yes, this is the one. Great job.
A rich lady booked into one of the best hotels in the city. When she got her key, she noticed that her bags had been stolen.
Oh no!
The police interrogated three main suspects. Mr. Kramer said, "I'm going to see my friends now. I've spent the day in my room." Mrs. Harrelson said, "I wouldn't steal anything. I'm rich." Mr. Scott said, "I've been walking my dog and have just returned. I know nothing about it." Who is the criminal? Have you noticed the sign, "No pets allowed," on the hotel door? This hotel has a no pets policy, so Mr. Scott couldn't walk his dog. They wouldn't have checked him in with one. Riley is studying abroad and has a boyfriend her family doesn't know about. Her parents don't approve of dating until she graduates. Riley spent the semester break with her boyfriend on his family's farm, but she told her parents that she had been in New York with her friends. When her mother asked for photos, Riley photoshopped herself into one of her friend's photos. When her mom saw the photos, she understood that Riley had lied. How? Look, Riley is the only person in the photo who doesn't have a reflection in the mirror behind. This is what gave her away. Mrs. Brown is the owner of an apartment building with a no-pet policy. Not even fish are allowed. One night she hears a dog barking on the floor above her apartment. The next day she inspects two apartments upstairs. In which apartment does the dog live? Look, there is a dog leash hanging in this apartment. It must be the one. Even after the tenant with the dog had moved out, Mrs. Brown kept hearing some barking. She thought it was phantom noises, but a week later she decided to check two more apartments. Take a close look at them and try to figure out if a dog lives one of them. Yes, a dog lives in this apartment. Look, there is a dog hair all over the bed. Jane came home from school, looking forward to eating her favorite waffles she had prepared in this morning. Unfortunately, someone had eaten half of them. Furious, she questioned two people in the house, her friend and her dad. Both of them were sitting at the kitchen table. Both denied having touched her food. Who lied? Her father lied. Look, there are waffle crumbs in his mustache. Alice participated in a game show and she won 3 exclusive gifts. A Dolce & Gabbana wallet, a backpack from Dior, and a Tesla. But here is a catch. She is to pick her presents herself by choosing between the original and the replica. Can you help her pick the correct prizes? Here are 2 Dolce & Gabbana wallets. One of them is the original, and the other is a replica. Which one should Alice choose? This one, it has the correct logo, so it must be the original. Now look at these seemingly identical backpacks. Only one of them is the original Dior bag. Which one? This one. This logo is correct. And finally, the car. Let's see if you remember the Tesla logo. Yes, this is the one. Great job! Daniela graduated from FBA Academy and applied for a job at several secret agencies. She got an acceptance letter from one of them, but it didn't contain any instructions. In the end, there was a number. She tried to call it, but it turned out it didn't exist. Take a look at the acceptance letter. Can you help Daniela figure it out? It's a secret message, of course, and figuring it out is one of the tasks. Daniela should pay attention to the highlighted words. Then, from each of them, she should take the letter that corresponds with the number at the bottom of the page. If she does it, she'll see small lake at 11. Daniela got the job, and now she's on her first case. Amelia's cat was stolen, and she asked Daniela to find it. Daniela paid a visit to several neighbors and questioned them. Jake said, "I have 2 dogs. I wouldn't steal a cat." Mike said, "I don't like animals, so I'd never get a pet." And Jessica said, "I'm not even allowed to have pets in this apartment." Who stole Amelia's cat? Have you noticed a cat house in Mike's apartment? Why does he have it if he doesn't like pets? He must be the catnapper. Another day, another crime. Daniela was following a shoplifter who had stolen an expensive purse from a Louis Vuitton store. Suddenly, the criminal entered a hospital and disappeared into the crowd. Daniela went inside. She saw 3 visitors. One of them must be the shoplifter pretending to be a patient. Can you tell who it is? It must be this woman. That young woman is pregnant, and this one is wearing high heels, so she wouldn't have been able to run fast. On Monday morning, a big sum of money went missing from the accountant's safe, and Daniela arrived to investigate. She had 3 suspects. John said, "I was in my office all morning because I needed to do some urgent work." Elizabeth said, "I was drinking my morning coffee in the cafeteria and answering emails." And Julia said, "I was in my office finishing some tasks I didn't have time to do yesterday." Who should be Daniela's main suspect? Julia. She mentioned some tasks left from the day before, but it was Sunday. Daniela was spending her Sunday in a theme park when she heard 2 people arguing. It turned out they were arguing over the car keys left in the park's lost and found. Both were claiming them. Take a close look at them and decide who the keys really belong to. The guy is blind, so the car keys must belong to this woman. Daniela stayed in the park, and she had to crack some more cases that day. She needs your help, so have a look. Another lost and found item is this iPhone. Who do you think it belongs to? This girl's phone is in her pocket, so the iPhone most likely belongs to the other woman. And the last item is a Louis Vuitton purse. 2 girls are claiming it, but who is the rightful owner? Look, the purse has a keychain with the name Ella. It's the name of the girl on the right. At least that's what her name tag says, so the purse must belong to her. Ned works in a club. His job is to check people's ID cards and not to let any suspicious people in. Take a look at these IDs and figure out who isn't supposed to enter the club. So here's the first one. What would you say about this man? Don't let him in. The man was born on the 3rd of February, but this date doesn't even exist. It must be a fake ID. Okay, here's the next candidate. What's your verdict? He seems fine. He can come in. Okay, here's the next guest. In or out? What do you think? She seems fine for me. Okay, next. Luke, what is your decision regarding this one? Look, in the picture the woman has a birthmark on her cheek, but in reality she doesn't have any. That's suspicious. Don't let her in. Okay, another one for you. Look, the city isn't specified here. It just says Nevada. It's not what other IDs look like. So this one must be fake. I wouldn't let her in. And what about this girl? Would you let her in? She seems alright. Green light.
Jim goes hiking and gets lost in the woods. After a while, he gets really hungry. Jim wanders around and finds these 3 options, but only one of them is safe. Can you help Jim make the right choice? All the footsteps are leading to this berry bush, but not a single animal walked away from it. So the berries are probably poisonous. There's a scorpion creeping around these delicious bananas, so Jim should choose the apple tree. Timmy is packing bags for a hike in the mountains. Can you sort out extra items? It's unlikely he's going to need a hairdryer. Timmy's already taking a flashlight, and he probably won't have access to electricity. Therefore, he doesn't need this table lamp. And finally, he shouldn't take this heavy silver cutlery. A frog is at the bottom of a well. The well is 30 feet deep. The frog climbs up 5 feet every day, but it slips back 4 feet every night. After how many days will the frog be free? "26 days. Wow. The frog climbs up by just 1 foot per 24 hours. So in 25 days, it will be at the level of 25 feet. And on the 26th day, it will make the final 5 feet jump and get out of the well." Billy here wakes up in a creepy cave and finds 4 tunnels leading outside. He only has one chance to escape. There's a hungry tiger inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with dust and spider webs. Yuck! There's a water-filled tank with sharks inside the third tunnel. And the fourth tunnel is full of venomous snakes. Which tunnel is more or less safe to enter? Billy should choose the second tunnel. There are no spiders in this picture, only the webs. Crawling through them might be unpleasant, but at least he'll stay safe. 3 tourists go hiking and get into trouble. Surprise, surprise. Can you guess who has more chances to survive? The third person. Although rats are gross, they're not fatal. Diana's boat was wrecked, and she ended up on a tropical island. The locals speak an unknown language, so Diana can't understand them. But still, she managed to spot this guy's wife right away. Can you see her too? It's the third lady. They have similar tattoos. Wendy is walking in the woods and falls into the trap of evil elves. She offers their king a deal. If I write your exact age on a piece of paper, you'll let me go. The king agrees and gives Wendy a piece of paper and a pen. In a minute, he lets her go. How did she do it? Wendy literally did what she said. She wrote your exact age on the paper. Ah, clever girl. Stan is walking home in a haunted city. He finds a nice spot to shoot a tic-tac. But unfortunately, he falls into a basement. Stan looks around and finds 4 doors out. There's a hungry dragon behind the first door. The second way is filled with intense fire. There's a desert filled with hungry piranhas behind the third door. And venomous snakes are waiting behind the fourth door. Which way is the safest? The third one. Piranhas live in water, so they wouldn't manage to survive in the desert. Therefore, they're not dangerous for Stan. Jessica gets lost in the desert with just one small bottle of water. She has no clue where the nearest water source is. What would you suggest? Run as quickly as possible to find more water? Pour all water on her head to avoid sunstroke? Find a shady place and rest? Stay where she is and shout for help as loud as possible. The third option is the best. When it gets darker and cooler, she can walk further and find help. Tilda is boarding a private jet. The crew greets her, and she spots an impostor among the crew members right away. Can you see this person too? The pilot is wearing a badge with a female face and name on it. Therefore, he had stolen someone else's ID. Tyler wakes up in the morning and finds out that his shadow is gone. He goes to the local witch. She offers to choose from these 6 options, but only one of these shadows really belongs to Tyler. Can you spot which one? Only the first shadow fits perfectly. Nina and Sarah are both fond of swimming, but one of them is making a big mistake. Can you guess who? Nina. The sign says that the water in this river contains toxic waste. Meanwhile, Sarah can easily surf in large waves. Kyle and Betty go to a remote village to spend a romantic weekend. They see a cute little farm on the way and buy some pomegranates. They go on a picnic and enjoy the fruits. Each of them eats half of the pomegranate. In 10 minutes, Kyle gets very sick. Betty takes him to the hospital. Doctors check everything and come to the conclusion the pomegranate was poisoned. Kyle and Betty ate the same food and drank the same drinks all day. How is it possible that Betty still feels well? The poison was in the white seeds. Kyle ate them whole, while Betty only the red part. Allison is jogging in a park. Suddenly, she comes across an angry brown bear. It's getting closer and closer, but Allison manages to survive. What did she do? started running as fast as she could, fell to the ground and pretended to be unconscious, or stood still and didn't move? What do you say? Usually, brown bears only attack people when they're surprised or feel threatened. Allison fell to the ground, and the bear didn't consider her dangerous. Peter is hiking in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, he sees a mountain tiger in the distance. He's trying not to panic and begins to look for a place to hide. There are 3 possible options, but only one of them is more or less safe. Can you help him make the right choice? If Peter climbs this tree, the tiger can easily get him there. Tigers actually like to swim. That's why it's not safe for Peter to escape by boat. But if he hides in this cave and blocks the entrance with a stone, he can call rescuers and wait for evacuation. Alice is 45 years older than her son Tom. Both of their ages contain prime numbers as the digits. Also, Alice's age is the reverse of Tom's age. Can you figure out their ages? The only single-digit prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 7. Here's a list of possible age combinations: 32 and 23, 52 and 25, 73 and 37, 53 and 35, 75 and 57. 72 and 27, but only the last combination meets the first requirement. The age difference should be 45 years. Therefore, Alice is 72 and her son is 27. Polly is an archaeologist. She excavates an ancient city. Suddenly, she finds a beautiful antique vase, or vase if you prefer. But one piece is missing. Polly also finds these ceramic fragments. Can you help her find the missing piece of the vase? The 4th fragment fits perfectly. Dan lands with a parachute in a field in the middle of nowhere. Been there, done that. He finds the nearest bus station to get back to the city, but only one of these 4 buses will arrive at the station. Can you guess which one? It's the 2nd bus. You can crack this maze much easier if you start drawing from the final destination. Amy leaves her workplace to go to the bathroom. She returns and finds out that someone had stolen all the cash from her wallet. Amy checks the wallet's surface for fingerprints, but she only finds her own. The next day, Amy questions 3 of her coworkers. Mike says, "Sorry, I've been out for lunch when the robbery took place." Oliver says, "I've been feeling sick all morning, so I went home early." And Will says, "I've been having a conference call with their clients." Can you spot the thief? It's Oliver. Take a look at his trash bin. He used gloves to steal the cash and then left them in the trash. He's the clumsy culprit.
Are you ready to challenge your visual memory? Let's go. Take a look at the following images and try to memorize them in detail. Can you find the correct fruit among these 4 options? This one. What about these 4 houses? The second one is correct. And now let's see if you can spot the right bottle. There it is. Great job. And now let's go ahead and make the task a little harder. Try to memorize these 5 objects. Can you find the correct flower among these 4 options? Although these flowers are the same purple color, only the second one matches the original. Can you recognize the lemon? It's this one. Let's see if you can find the right bag. There it is. What about the slippers? It's the first pair. You probably remember the original burger, don't you? There it is. Next round, try to memorize these 5 images. Can you find the correct mushroom among these 5 options? Well, hello. Let's see if you can find the correct berry. There it is. Let's try to spot the original ice cream. Only this one is correct. Can you find the original star among these 5 images? There it is. What about the bee? Can you see it? Oh, hi! Next round. Take a look at these images. Now let's try to find the original star among these 6 images. The first one. What about these 6 options? Can you see the correct flower? The 5th one is correct, but the second flower is from the previous task, so it may also seem familiar to your brain. Go ahead, can you find the bag? This one is correct. Does the third option remind you of something? This is the bag from the second round. Can you find the original house among these 6 images? There it is. What about these 6 options? Can you see the original cat? Here it is. Can you find the correct dog? It's the second one. Next challenge. Focus on these images and try your best to memorize the order. And now, let's close these images. Can you remember what's hidden under the third card? The bagel. What about the 6th card? The mug. What about the first card? It's our bee. Now, the second card. The candy. What's hiding under the 4th card? The socks. Can you remember what the 5th card hides? The shoe. Let's move on to the next challenge and try to memorize these images. Let's cover the images. Can you see through the 5th card? It's the ring. What can you say about the 3rd card? The banana. What about the sixth card? It's the apple. Can you remember what image was under the first card? The book. What about the second card? It's the phone. Can you remember what image hides under the fourth card? The glasses. Great job! Next round. Okay, let's hide these images. Can you remember what's hidden under the sixth card? The sunflower. What about the first image? It's the orange. Can you guess what image is hiding under the fifth card? It's the cloud. What can you say about the third card? It's the glove. And what about the second one? The scissors. What image is under the fourth card? It's the flower. What can you say about the eighth card? It's the car. What about the seventh? The tree. Let's make this task a little harder. Try to memorize these 10 images. Let's close the images. Can you remember where the doctor is hiding? Over there. What about the rose? It's hiding under the seventh card. Can you find the hand? It's here. Let's try to find the strawberry. Hey! Next round, let's focus on these 10 images. Time's up. We're covering the images. Can you remember the correct location of the key? It's over here. Can you figure out where the swan is hiding? Behind the eighth card. What about the clover? Here it is. Let's try to find the mug. It's over there. What about the sun? It's behind the seventh card. And now, try to memorize these vegetables. Time's up. Let's hide them. Can you remember the correct location of the garlic? Right. Where is the corn hiding? It's under the sixth card. What about the pumpkin? It's over there. Where's the carrot? under the 5th card. Do you remember where the onion is? It's under the 7th card. And what about the eggplant? Oh, there it is! Next round. You have just a few seconds to memorize the following images. And now let's hide them and try to figure out where the burger is. It's over there. Can you remember where the donut is? It's hiding under the 3rd card. What about the pizza? It's over there. Where's the ice cream? It's hiding behind the 8th card. What about the cheese? Over there. Can you spot the sandwich? It's hiding under the 9th card. Great job! Katie and John went on vacation together to an exotic location. In their first week, they booked a tour to the desert. But during the tour, the couple got lost. They were really thirsty, so they decided to go look for some water. Soon enough, the couple came across a huge oasis. But to reach the main waterfall where they could drink some water, they had to cross a bridge. But there were 3 bridges leading to the same place. The first bridge was high above the ground, and the ropes holding it looked as if they could rip at any second. The second bridge had some hungry-looking alligators crawling all over it, and the last bridge stretched over a lake full of poisonous water plants. Which bridge should they choose? The last one. The bridge stands high above the lake. Katie and Jake won't have to touch the water and the plants when crossing it. Luckily, they had radios with them, so they sent an SOS signal to their guide. The guide told them to sit tight. He promised the guys that a rescue team would be shortly on its way to help them. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams reached Katie and John. The guys got suspicious and asked the members of the team who had sent them. The first team said that they'd heard on the radio that a couple had gotten lost in the desert and had come to help them. The members of the second team explained that the hotel the guys were staying at had called the police for help. The last team said they'd received a radio signal saying the couple had been in distress. They immediately came to the rescue. Which team should the couple trust? The last team. John and Katie sent a message to their guide as soon as they got lost, remember? Back in the hotel room, John and Katie found out that someone had broken into their safe. The couple called the police and told the inspector that a few $100s and an expensive watch had been stolen from the safe. In less than a day, the inspector had 3 suspects. The first suspect was Bella, their tour guide. Bella said she'd been really worried about the couple's disappearance and hadn't left her room. The second suspect was Claudio, the hotel manager. He told the inspector that he hadn't even known that the couple had been missing. He was sure they'd been staying in their room this whole time. The last suspect was Bob from the rescue team. He told the inspector it wasn't him. It was the first time he had set foot in the hotel. Who is lying? Claudio. Look at his wrist. He's wearing a very expensive watch that looks exactly like the watch that was stolen. Plus, look at his pocket. He didn't do a good job at hiding the stash of money he'd stolen. After the crime was solved, John and Katie decided it was time to head home. As soon as they arrived at their house, they tried to open the new suitcase they had bought during the trip. They tried several number combinations but couldn't figure out the code. Luckily, Katie remembered she had saved a note on her cell phone. This was the tip she wrote down. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right, but in the wrong place. 206. Two digits are right, but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. One digit is right, but in the wrong place. Can you figure out what the 3-digit code to open their suitcase is? (042). The following weekend, Katie's friends invited her to a picnic in the forest. But when she arrived at the agreed place, she didn't see any of her girlfriends. Instead, she saw a large group of people standing in a wide clearing. Apparently, she had come to the wrong location, but right before she left, she noticed that 3 of these people weren't human. Can you spot them? Look at the way that girl over there blinks. This doesn't look normal, does it? And look at that granny's cane. It's part of her body, not a separate object. And that guy is charging his phone using a cable connected to his leg. Yikes! On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on TV. On the screen, there were 2 women. The first one was stuck inside a cage hanging above the ocean, filled with sharks. The other woman was tied with a rope, hanging over a lake with piranhas. Both ropes were about to break. Who has the best chance of surviving? It's lady number 2. The first lady is stuck inside a cage, so she has no way to escape. If she falls into the water, she will most likely not survive. But lady number 2 has both her hands free, so she can try to climb the rope before it tears. The next morning, John went to work. As soon as he arrived at the office, he saw that his colleague Susan was very upset. She said that at one point she had gone to the bathroom, but when she came back, she discovered that someone had stolen her pearl earrings she had kept inside her drawer. John promptly undertook an investigation. The first suspect was Gertrude, a saleswoman. She said she was in a meeting with the CEO and nowhere near Susan's famous pearl earrings. The second suspect was Britt, an IT guy. He said he'd been fixing the company's software all morning. And lastly, John questioned Brian, the CEO, who said he had spent the morning at his daughter's ballet recital. Can you tell who's lying? It was Gertrude. Gertrude's account contradicts the CEO's statement. And plus, look at those pearl earrings she has in her desk drawer. They look somewhat familiar, no? John went back to his desk and started working. Later that evening, a massive power outage made all the lights in the building go out. John heard footsteps approaching him. The next thing he knew, he felt dizzy. He passed out and woke up in a tiny room with a metal door. John tried to open the door, but it was locked. He noticed that next to the door, there was a little device with a red sign that asked for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. John read the note aloud several times before he finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password he typed? He typed in 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Phew, that wasn't very obvious, was it? One afternoon, John was walking down the street when he came across a dog. The dog had a collar with its name on it, and a part of its leash was still attached to the collar. It looked like the dog had just run away, so John picked it up and started searching for its owner. He walked into a pet store, and there were 3 people standing near the counter. John took a quick look around and knew immediately who the owner was. How did he figure it out? Look at the guy in the middle. A ripped leash is hanging out of his pocket. He must be the dog's owner. On a beautiful morning, Katie and her friend went on a hike. At some point, they saw a river they needed to cross. Both of them needed to get to the other side. However, The boat could only make one trip back and forth and take one of them at a time. Still, both of them managed to get across the river. How? That's easy. They both went on a hike on the same day, but they weren't together, so they arrived at the river at the same time. But they were on the opposite banks, and after Katie arrived at the other side of the river, her friend managed to get to the opposite bank too. Look at these maids attentively. One of them is richer than the other. Can you figure out which? Even though the maid on the left is in a luxurious apartment, she just cleans it. But have a look at the maid on the right. She has an expensive watch on her wrist. She is definitely richer. Look at these students. Who's cheating? The guy in the front row, he's balancing an open book on his foot. Mrs. Lawrence went missing on Friday. Her husband informed the police and they started an investigation. The last person to see the woman was a shop assistant in a jewelry store. She confirmed that the woman wearing a red dress and red shoes had bought a necklace that day. On Saturday, Mrs. Lawrence called the police herself. She whispered, "I'm locked in some house. I managed to find a cell phone, but I may be discovered at any..." The call got suddenly interrupted. The police officer who had been talking to her managed to track the call, but she could only figure out the street. Look at the houses in the street and try to figure out where Mrs. Lawrence is kept. She must be in this house. Look, there's a tiny piece of red fabric on the fence over there, and Mrs. Lawrence was wearing a red dress. Ten witches met up for their annual coven. The head witch looked at the rest of the group and exclaimed,
"According to the laws of our community, we can't live among people or communicate with them. And still, one of you has broken this rule."
Look at the witches and find out who it is. It's the witch in the purple hat. There's a smartphone in her pocket. Three friends, Kathy, Mark, and Lauren, gathered together to catch up on their latest news at Lauren's place. At one point, they decided to play hide and seek, but it was Lauren's turn to look for her friends. She easily found Mark, but even with his help, she couldn't locate Kathy.
Uh-oh.
Can you help Lauren find her friend? She took her task seriously. Look, she's hiding in a trash can. Ew. Discover the Sun was a very popular travel agency. It sold package tours to the hottest and most exotic destinations. But one day, the police found out that this company helped criminals flee the country. They also learned the exact date when it would happen the next time. On that day, several police officers arrived at the airport. They stopped a group of tourists who were flying to a Caribbean island. But the detectives didn't know the criminal's identity. That's why they had to search the baggage of all the passengers. Look at their bags and say who the criminal is. It's the young woman on the left. If she's going on a package tour to a hot place, why does she need a winter jacket? Megan invited her friends to a restaurant to celebrate her birthday. They had a lot of fun. Megan got the best birthday present ever. Her friends gave her a ring with a large diamond. But suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. After several minutes of total confusion, the lights came back on, but Megan's ring was gone. Look at the image attentively and try to figure out who stole it. It's the waiter. Look at the glass he's holding. He put the ring inside. Now there's much more water in it. Jacob's girlfriend, Nicole, loved riddles. One day, she was on a business trip to France. She called Jacob and told him it was her relative's birthday. "Could you go and congratulate my family member, please?" When the guy asked her which relative he had to visit, Nicole answered, "It's the daughter of the only son of my grandfather." Who is this mysterious relative Jacob is asked to congratulate? It's Nicole's sister. Ms. Lopez took her students to an art museum. Half an hour into the excursion, a worried museum worker came up to the professor. He told Ms. Lopez that one of the exhibits, an ancient vase, had been damaged. The culprit was most likely one of the students. Only 3 of them came close to the vase. Maria said, "After I looked at the vase, I noticed my makeup was smudged. So I went straight to the bathroom." Anthony replied,
I didn't touch the exhibit. After looking at it, I went to the next room to see dino skeletons.
And Nathan said he'd been following Miss Lopez, taking notes. One of these students is lying. But who? Anthony. There are no dinosaur bones in the art museum. Tyler made a bet with a friend that he could get out of any locked place. The next thing he knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would fill the cage with water. And the third lever would activate a special mechanism. It'd make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage. Matthew has only black and white socks, but he keeps them all mixed. One evening, the guy is in a hurry. He's getting ready for a date. Suddenly, the power goes out. Now it's completely dark in the room. The guy has 10 white and 10 black socks in the drawer. How many socks must he pull out of the drawer to get 2 matching ones? Just 3. In a set of 3 socks, he's bound to have 2 socks of the same color. Dennis, Maria, and Julie were at a party. They decided to play a game. There were 5 hats, 2 red ones and 3 yellow ones. The friends closed their eyes, took a random hat each, and put them on their heads. Then they opened their eyes and looked at one another. Each of them had to guess what color the hat on their head was. Dennis and Julie said they didn't know, but Maria exclaimed that she knew the color of her hat. What color was it? It was yellow. Maria saw that Dennis and Julie were wearing red hats, and she knew there were only 2 of those. You need to take 2 apples from your garden and bring them to your friend, but she lives on the other bank of the river. To get to her house, you have to cross a bridge. It can hold your weight and the weight of 1 apple. If you try to step on the bridge with 2 apples, it'll collapse. And the water in the river is swarming with piranhas. What can you do to bring your friend 2 apples if you can only make 1 trip? You should cross the bridge while juggling the apples. Ben woke up in a hospital. He only remembered his name and nothing else. A doctor came in to check on the guy. He said 3 young women were waiting to see Ben. The women came in. Strangely, each of them claimed to be the guy's sister, but only one of them is telling the truth. Who was it? The one girl in the middle. She has a birthmark on her hand, and Ben has the same. 2 roommates, Hannah and Megan, were walking home after doing their weekly grocery shopping. Hannah kept complaining about how heavy her bags were. Then Megan told her, "I don't understand why you're upset. If you gave me one of your bags, I would have twice more bags as you do. And if I gave you one of mine, we would have the same number of bags." How many bags were the girls carrying? Megan had 7 bags, while Hannah was only carrying 5 bags. Okay, first question. Who is someone that doesn't decide if they go in or out? That's a prisoner. And today, you're going to be a true detective solving some prisoner riddles. Ready? Here's a task for you. Take a good look at these 3 houses. In one of them, a person who recently escaped from prison resides. In which house do you think they live? If they just escaped from prison, they're very alert and surely ready to flee immediately and as fast as possible. Look at the way the cars are parked. 2 are parked with the back facing the road and 1 is pointing towards the street. If a car is parked pointing towards the street, it's faster to drive out, so it must be the runaway prisoner's house. A prisoner has a chance to escape prison. He has a choice of 2 doors. Behind one, there's freedom, and the other one leads back to his cell. He doesn't know which is which. In front of either door, there's a guard. One of them always lies and the other always tells the truth. But again, he doesn't know which one is which. The prisoner can ask one question. What question should he ask to get out? He should ask either guard, "Is the lying guard in front of the freedom door?" If he says yes, there are 2 options. Either he's telling the truth or he's the liar, and so he stands next to the cell door. In any case, the prisoner should pick the other door. If the guard says no, then it's either the truth and the door is then the freedom door, or it's a lie, but it still remains that it's the freedom door. So, in a case of a no, the prisoner should pick that door. A prisoner is trying to escape. He managed to leave the cell and found an underground tunnel, but it only led him to 3 doors. All of them didn't look safe. Behind the first door, there were 2 guards who would see him and take him back to prison. Behind the second door, there was a room full of lasers. Behind the third door, there was a room with the floor full of broken glass. Which way is safer? The prisoner should pick the last door. The floor is covered in broken glass, but he's wearing shoes, so it can't cause him much harm. Another prisoner is trying to escape, and he almost succeeded. There are now 3 doors in front of him. Behind one, there will be 3 hungry and angry dogs. Behind the second door, there will be an explosion in 5 minutes. Behind the third door, there's a guard. Which door should the prisoner pick to get out successfully? He should wait for 5 minutes until the explosion and then use the second door to get out. Now here's a logic puzzle. An inmate had a visitor. A guard asked him who it was and he said, "I don't have any siblings. This man's father is my father's son." So who visited the inmate? Since the prisoner doesn't have any siblings, then my father's son is him himself. And he is the father of the guest, so the guest is his son. An inmate got sick, and now he has to take pills to keep his illness under control and also not to infect anyone else. He got 3 pills which he has to take every hour. How long will it take him to take all the pills? It'll only take him 2 hours. One he will take immediately, another one after 1 hour, and the last one after 2 hours. An inmate escaped from prison. His best friend was waiting for him in a car, so the prisoner hopped in and they drove away. The police are now chasing them. This is the car with the prisoner, and these 2 cars are identical. Watch the car with the prisoner carefully. Which car is the escapee in? It's the one on the left. Okay, now it's going to be even harder. Watch the car again. They'll go faster. Which one is it? If you said this one, then you're right. Okay, one last time. And will you catch the prisoner? Watch the cars carefully. Which one is it? It's this one, correct! Congratulations, you caught the prisoner! Another prisoner escaped, and police tracked him back to a recreational hotel complex in a forest in the suburbs. A detective entered a sauna he had seen the prisoner sneaking in a minute ago. There were 4 men sitting there. They said they were friends and had been sitting in the sauna for around 10 minutes and hadn't seen anyone else entering. Which one is the prisoner? It must be this guy. Look, everyone is wet and sweaty, and he's not sweating at all. He must have just entered. Another day, another prisoner managed to escape. This time, the police were sure that the prisoner was somewhere in the zoo located not far away from the prison. They entered and went up to one of the zoo's caretakers, asking if he had seen a prisoner there.
No, sir, I guarantee that no prisoners entered this area,
said the caretaker. It was suspicious. Why was he so sure about that? All right, thank you for your assistance. By the way, why is this cage empty?
Oh, I'm cleaning it. The zebras were relocated for a while.
The police arrested him as a prisoner. Why? The sign on the cage says that it's the cage with camels. If he was a real caretaker, he would know this. Now, I'll be showing you several houses, and your task is to determine in which house a criminal lives. For example, look at these 2. Which room belongs to a criminal? This one. Look, there's a black mask on the chair. What about these 2 houses? Do you see something suspicious? There are orange overalls in the wardrobe. They must belong to a prisoner. Another one for you. Can you see any signs of a prisoner? Look, there's a huge bag with money hidden. This is the place. There are 4 prisoners who get a chance to get out sooner if they solve a riddle. There are 4 hats, 2 black ones and 2 white ones, and everyone is aware of that. They stand like this. The first prisoner is in the front and can't see anyone. The second prisoner can only see the first one. The third prisoner can see both. Behind a wall, there's the fourth prisoner, who can't see anyone. Each one of them got a hat. None of them knows the color of their hat. They can only see others as described. Any one of them can make a guess regarding the color of their own hat. One attempt for all of them. But if the person gets it right, all 4 of them will get out. How can they do it? The third prisoner can see 2 hats in front of him. If they're the same color, then he knows his own hat is the other color. But if there are 2 different hat colors in front of him, then he can't be sure. In this case, he'll stay silent. Then, the second prisoner understands that they have hats of different colors. He can see the hat color of the first prisoner, so he will call out that his own has the other color. Mr. Riddle is an old-fashioned aristocrat. He invites a landscape designer, Bella, to do his chic country mansion.
Okay.
He says, "Your task is to plant 7 trees. I will triple your paycheck if you find a way to plant exactly 6 rows of trees in a straight line. Also, each row should have 3 trees in particular." Do you have any idea how Bella can accomplish this task? Bella should plant 3 trees as the vertices of an equal triangle. 3 more trees should be planted at the center of each side of the triangle. The last tree should be planted at the center, and voila! While working in Mr. Riddle's garden, Bella finds 3 hidden words. Can you see them too? There are 3 hidden words here: tree, farm, and plant. The local gardener is playing a quiz game. He keeps asking the same question to everyone he meets, but each time the answer is different. Can you guess the question? The question that the gardener asks is, "What's the time?" Later that night, Bella is heading to the local nightclub. On the way, she spots 3 mistakes in the picture below. Can you see them too? December 32nd doesn't exist. There's no green light at the traffic signal, and this trolley doesn't have any rails. Bella's boyfriend, Tyler, is performing a show with his dancing group at 11 p.m. Bella is a little late, so when she enters the nightclub, she sees Tyler and his crew on the stage. They're dancing in a straight line. At this very moment, Tyler is standing in the 4th position from both the front and back ends of the row. Can you figure out the number of dancers? There are 7 people in Tyler's dancing group, including himself. Tyler was the 4th from both ends, which means 3 dancers were at the front and at the back. After the performance, Bella is wandering around the club and sees these 2 guys in the VIP section. Can you tell who's fake? The guy on the left, his reflection doesn't say anything, but the guy on the right is wearing a suit and has some cash in his pocket, so he's probably just having a bad day. The next day, Bella receives an invitation to have dinner with Mr. Riddle. Bella agrees and arrives at his house in the evening. She enters the dining room and spots 4 weird things right away. Can you see them too? This candle has a purple flame. Someone is peeping through the eyes in this portrait. This fireplace burns without any wood. And finally, both hands of Mr. Riddle are left. During the dinner, Mr. Riddle tells Bella, "I'm so grateful for your work. I decided to give you a gift if you manage to crack my puzzle. So listen carefully. I can be broken, even if you never pick me up or touch me. What am I? Can you help Bella solve this mystery?" The correct answer is a promise. Bella cracks the riddle and receives the promised gift from Mr. Riddle. The gift has lots of keys, but it can never open a door.
Oh.
What is it? The correct answer is a piano. Bella enters Mr. Riddle's library. Suddenly, he locks the door. The windows are locked too, so Bella is trapped inside the room. She looks around and finds a secret exit.
Yes!
Can you see it too? Take a look at the floor. There's a door to the basement hidden under the carpet. In the basement, Bella finds a door that leads outside, but it's locked and requires a 5-digit password. Do you have any idea how to open it? The note on the wall has a hint. Each image contains a different number of colors. The rainbow has 7 colors, the cloud 1, the bird 4, and so on. So the correct password is 17421. Bella escapes from Mr. Riddle's house and gets lost in the woods. There are 3 possible ways to cross this area. Unfortunately, only one is safe. Can you guess which one? Bella should pick the second path to survive. Bella arrives at the nearest village in the mountains. She enters the local diner to call the police, but she regrets her decision as soon as she gets inside. Why? This is a vampire village. None of the customers eats anything. And also, she's the only person who casts any shadow here. Bella runs away to the mountains and finds 3 tunnels. Unfortunately, each path is hiding some danger. There's a cage with hungry lions behind the first door. The second tunnel is filled with gas that's very toxic for any human. And there's a giant dragon waiting inside the third tunnel. Can you help Bella choose the safest option? Bella should choose the first tunnel. The lions are in the cage, so she can just walk by and escape. Now Bella needs to cross a fast-flowing mountain river by jumping from stone to stone. She struggles with choosing the last step. Can you help her? Each stone has a particular number: 1, 2, 4, 7, 11, 16. This sequence is formed by adding the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Therefore, the remaining stone should be 16 plus 6. So Bella should choose the stone 22. Finally, Bella finds a highway. 3 people offer to give her a ride, but only one of these guys is reliable. Can you guess who? The second guy's car has no license plate and it's been painted recently, so the car is probably stolen. Take a closer look at the third guy's hand. He's a zombie! So Bella should choose the first guy. Bella arrives home and finds out that someone had robbed her apartment. She calls the police and questions 3 neighbors. Ryan says, "I think I heard weird noises from your apartment 2 hours ago, but I thought it was your TV." Peter says,
I noticed a suspicious delivery guy near your door about an hour ago when I was taking out the trash.
And Emma says, "I've just arrived from my business trip in London. I don't know what happened here." Who's lying? Peter said he took out the trash an hour ago, but he still has a full garbage can in front of his door. And the flies around it tell us that this bag has been here for a while. Therefore, he's a liar. The next day, Bella enters a supermarket to buy some food. The manager complains that someone had stolen a watermelon. Bella spots the thief right away. What about you? This fake basketball player is the thief. The ball shouldn't have any zip. Bella is walking down the street. She passes by 3 guys who are busy washing their cars. In a while, Bella realizes that her wallet is gone. She returns to the guys and asks, "Has anyone seen my wallet?" All 3 guys answer no, but one of them is a thief. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the left. The level of water in his bucket increased after he threw Bella's wallet into it. Bella approaches the parking lot and finds out that someone had stolen her car. She calls the police. The officers begin to chase the thief. The light over the license plate of Bella's car isn't working. Also, the police car has a faulty headlight. But eventually, the officers succeed in catching the thief and return the car to Bella. How did they manage to catch the criminal?
Yes!
Do you have any ideas? It was daytime, therefore they didn't need any headlights or lights over the license plate. Bella comes home and opens her fridge to grab some snacks. Right away, she begins to yell at her boyfriend. "Tyler, you ate my food again!" Tyler replies, "No, I didn't." Can you guess who's lying by looking at these 2 pictures? Tyler. He took these 5 items from the fridge.